wonderful listeners.
Welcome to our first completely authorized podcast. Authorized. Because we're full-time authors, both of us now.
That was terrible.
I just came up with it.
I don't think you've been holding on to that one.
I just came up with it on the spot.
Anyways, I think the first order of business should be our podcast name because we did a little mini contest to try to get a better name instead of the JE&M fantasy, sci-fi, fiction, horror, erotica,
apocalypse,
novel writing
dishwasher
podcast.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of great ideas. We are thinking of something along the lines of Keepers of the Library.
Yeah. Libraries keepers.
Yeah, libraries keepers.
Keepers of the libraries. Yeah.
Keepers of the library. Because we don't want to hem ourselves in too much with a topic, but it will probably always pertain to writing in some way, since that's now what we do full time.
Yeah. Hey!
That was us clapping our palm flesh together in an act of celebration.
It's called a high five.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's have patience for our proud person. Yeah. So yeah, that was...
Bimini.
It was inspired by, yes.
Yes.
She suggested.
She didn't exactly suggest it, so we'll be kind and gracious and wonderful people and still give
Magnanimous!
And we will still give her wonderful prize. And everybody who suggested something will probably find something in their email fairly soon from me. Because I like giving away free things, and we just have a new release out, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
So maybe you might get a copy of that if you haven't purchased it already for the low price of 99 cents.
Yeah, and it ties into the whole of why we want to hem ourselves in, because we talk about so much stuff, right? Because even though it's always kind of focused on writing, what do we talk about? I mean, we talk about our writing, of course, duh. But now, which encompasses, fantasy, sci-fi, fucking
horror, mystery.
We have a new horror novel outlet that's just brutal.
We are now working on some billionaire BDSM stuff.
But also...
throw that out.
Yeah. I'm not a fan.
Josh loves it. I wrote, the longest sex scene I think I have ever written in my life. It was over 9,000 words. Over 9,000.
Over 9,000.
Over 9,000 words.
You ridiculed me for my joke at the beginning, and you just blasted out that pun.
Which is 50 pages of a traditional paperback worth of sex.
Yeah. But we're also interested in things like fan fiction. Fiction inspired by, movies, games, video games.
Video games.
Michelle, of which is addicted to at least one lately.
Yeah, so I guess the first thing we should probably talk about is now that we are full-time authors, how our life has changed. That was who was it?
Bimini.
Bimini.
Also, same.
Hello, Bimini. How
Hi.
are you today?
What's up?
So she had asked how our life had changed. So I pretty much replaced my full-time job with Guild Wars 2 and continue working on our writing in my off time from Guild Wars 2. I found a really awesome guild, and I've been spending a lot of time with them lately, which is...
Too much time.
Which has been inspiring me a lot to actually write, and which is the reason that I've actually been able to, for the first time in probably
a billion years.
4 years at least, wrote something on my own. Maybe. 11 billion years. Yeah. For the first time, I've been able to write something on my own, and it's actually a pretty substantial piece of work, and not something that I just gave up on after 300 words. Though I will say that I did want to give up on it at around the 300 word mark. So if any other aspiring authors or writers or people out there ever have problems with getting to the 300 to 500 word mark and going, this is absolute crap, why am I even trying to write that? Probably push past, because I think that's where we all get kind of stuck after the initial setup. So yeah, it's actually I think super duper hot, because,
I'll be the judge of that.
It's like over half of it is just a foreplay / sex scene. So hopefully I did build up justice, because back when we first started playing WoW and started doing WoW fanfic, foreplay was not my forte.
No.
Oh, come on, that was a great play on words too.
That was...
Foreplay, forte.
It's just alliteration.
You know,
what do you want?
It kind of sounds similar-ish too. It's not just...
Yeah, but, like, what the hell do you want with that? It's like...
I just want a little kudos.
It's not even a pun.
It's just... It goes well together, and I don't need this shit. Anyways, so I used to be really, really bad at foreplay, because I am really, really bad at foreplay in real life.
She is such the man of the relationship.
Fuck that shit. Just get to the point.
Just yells at me to stick it in. That's her.
Come on, hurry up. So anyways, the fact that I wrote like 8,000 words of foreplay is like amazing, and everybody should probably lick my toes because of it. There was no toe licking in the scene.
That was a weird thing to say. I didn't know you were into toe licking, honey.
Trying new things.
Okay.
So, yes, I'm about halfway through that, and that's going to be released in a new bundle coming out shortly. But, as well, I guess what Josh was leading up to in regards to how we write fan fiction, and we write stuff that's inspired by pretty much every different type of entertainment out there, and all of those good things.
Yeah, video games, movies, the Bible, whatever, you name it.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That's literature.
The Communist Manifesto, everything.
I'm pretty sure that's what Josh is actually working on right now. I'm not entirely sure, but he's doing a lot of research into the Cold War. I don't know.
Yeah, I've got some cool shit going on right now, okay? You don't bother your pretty little head with it. This is, yeah.
Anyways, as we were trying to segue into, like, twice.
Were we?
Twice. We just published a novel called Corrupted Hearts, which was inspired by our D&D days.
It was by a D&D campaign I created and led.
Yes. So it's about Lila and Glaurakos. If you're confused on how to pronounce Glaurakos, it's Glaurakos. Glaurakos. Yeah. Kind of like Glower-kos.
Yeah, Glower for short. Glower power.
Anyways, so they are both kind of demons, part demons, so they're not entirely evil.
He's part demon,
she's part avian, which is kind of a
angelic.
Chaotic. Yeah, it's not.
Well, initially, okay, you're getting carried away because the initial back, because we wrote this story actually some years ago. And it was we just finished putting it through the whole long, tedious process, going through like 3 editors and all the stuff. So Michelle's kind of forgetting some of the details. But yes, in the original D&D campaign, she was an Arinyes, or half Arinyes. Mm. So, but in the story, she's actually like...
an avian.
Which is sort of close to related to an angel.
Yeah, except more chaotic and a bit more... hedonistic.
Chaotic good.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
But just kind of more hedonistic. Obviously doesn't really have any hang-ups on sexual activity.
Clearly, yeah.
Clearly. So there's lots of sex, but mostly it's a romance. Like a fairly traditional romance, too, where there...
It just takes place during a very classic D&D adventure.
Exactly. So it follows 2 characters as... they fight with their nature, their lack of trust in each other, and, still have this kind of magnetic draw towards one another and the excitement that the other one brings to their life.
It's an erotic romance. There's a lot of sex.
There's a lot of sex. And it's probably Josh's favorite pairing that we've done.
Yeah. I don't know if it says my favorite of our novels, although it's good and I really enjoy it. But our favorite characters, the favorite pair of characters, I love the 2 of them together.
Yeah, they're actually really rad. They're really cool.
And I love the way Lila is just so completely sexual. So it's just such a sex bomb.
But she's, like, innocent at the same time. Like, she's beguiling.
She does the whole... She runs the line between the virgin whore dichotomy so well.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
She does. So that's available.
You nailed it, as the children are saying these days.
Thank you. She nailed him, as the children are also saying these days. Hopefully not about our novels.
Children shouldn't read those.
No. So, that's available now. Hopefully I'll have this podcast up by Sunday, the 19th, but I make no promises because our internet has been, since I quit my job, the internet has been down more than it has been up. And so we actually had to downgrade to a shittier internet speed. And now if I try to upload a couple of pictures to PhotoBucket or something, the internet pretty much goes down. It just throttles us back to the point that we can't do anything else. So it literally kind of sucks. Yeah. So hopefully we'll be getting that sorted out because, this has been probably 2 weeks where we haven't had good internet and I've only been doing this full time for 3 weeks.
Yeah. We were originally talking about once you're off, we could do things like we could do Let's Plays, like playing video games together, especially for October, we'll do horror games and we'll do that and post them online. But that's been totally off the fucking charts because that's just not conceivable because our internet is just not going to allow us to do that sort of shit right now and upload.
So it's still something that we're hoping to do and hopefully doing it sooner rather than later. We're going to see if there's a internet solution. But in the meantime, we're just kind of putting that on hold and just focusing on our writing and publishing. Trying to get as much stuff written as we can.
Yeah.
So, we finished a couple of shorts, which are up on the Candy Quinn pen name, if you guys like some contemporary bimboification. Bimbofication. And, sexy college girls and stuff. We've been writing that a lot lately, partially inspired by our Guild Wars 2 characters.
Yes.
Taken out of the Guild Wars 2 world and put into a contemporary setting where he is a biker. Yeah. And she is a stupid ditzy college student, which is pretty much what she is in game except without the college.
Right, yeah. Who needs college anyway?
Right?
I never found it of any use.
And she's doing just fine for herself anyways.
Yeah. Slutting's fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah. All you need is love with a lot of different partners.
Exactly.
As the Beatles said, paraphrase.
Yes. Well, obviously paraphrase. That's a much longer song than what we could repeat in this podcast.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah. You perfectly nailed it. But yes. So, life together.
We've pretty much broken up 5 times. We're back together now, though.
She's, the thing is you have to understand here, my pod person partner.
That's me.
Shell. Clearly, yes, honey. It wasn't necessarily that. Is usually such a hard worker. It's she is they knew her at her day jobs, every one of her day jobs. She's just this fanatical, obsessive hard worker. But here she is working with me at home. Suddenly, it's I've got to fucking beat her ass to get her to work now because she is such a bratty child.
Okay, but that's not entirely fair because I wake up and the first thing I want to do is write. The first thing that Josh wants to do, he wants to get up, leisurely check his shit, go for a ride on the bike and work out for an hour or so, then have this nice gourmet meal that somebody that's not him has to prepare, and then we have to eat, and then he probably comes up with something like, oh, we gotta do the laundry because we have no clothes, or oh, we gotta get groceries because we have no food. So then I have to go do that, and then by the time I get back, I'm like, well, I don't want to work, I just did all this stuff. I am done. The day.
She's still having issues coming to terms with human necessities, as you can understand.
I do not like doing things.
She very much resents having to eat. And if not for the fact that I bring it up, would never eat, I don't think.
A lot of the times he's actually brought me oatmeal at my computer and then looked over half an hour later and said, why haven't you eaten your oatmeal? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
There's oatmeal?
my pod person.
Yes, honey, I made it for you. I'm like, oh man, good. I'm so hungry.
The best is when you ask me to make you something when the food's already kind of like sitting there in front of you. You're just not aware of it, apparently. I guess pod people don't have senses of smell or...
No, why do you need that?
Yeah.
That's why smell is such a small thing in all of our novels.
That's not true.
I know it's not true.
I happen to like the whole musk thing. I love the smell of vagina.
Thank you.
Yeah. I do!
I know you do.
Then it's like oral sex. Then it's like I get all that smell of vagina in my beard. So
he loves it. Like days later, he's like,
You can't wash that shit out right away. It lingers for like at least 24 hours. It's like it's an aphrodisiac.
He's like fucking putting it up into his nose and stuff. Fucking huffing drugs out of his beer.
It's magnificent. It is the ultimate aphrodisiac.
Okay.
Moving on.
Yeah, probably. Nobody needs to know this.
You're the one going on about pulling it off my nose. Don't pay any attention to her. She's a pod person. Everything goes up her nose. That's like a mouth to them.
My nose is really itchy now.
It's like a mouth plus their fingers. Like, you know, it's like everything has to be experienced in the nose.
Shut up. Anyways, so Josh and I got into this long conversation earlier today because because we've been writing solo projects for the past couple of days. He's been struggling with it a lot more than I have.
Which is odd.
Which is odd, because usually he's the one that carries all of our novels and all of our books. Like, he is, you know, I'm just the responder for most of it, just pushing it along, and he's the one driving it. So, I sit down, and I'm like, 2 minutes later, I'm like, oh, hey, I got 2,000 words done, and he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing okay. It's going along at an okay pace. He's like, I have like 300 words. I'm like, really? What have you been doing? And he's like, I have to look this all up. I have to find out the FBI ranking. I have to find out this. I have to find out where this city is. It's like, I'm not even doing it in a city anymore. I'm going to make up a city because I can't deal with this. I'm like,
you want me to do contemporary work?
I know.
And it requires so much research, so I need to get it right. I can't just say stuff and have it be wrong.
See, but my contemporary romance currently takes place in one house and one store.
Oh.
And there is no FBI. There is no fucking greater conspiracy with the Soviet Union.
Oh.
There's no investigation. There's no anything. It's just some college student going to a party and then, like, getting paid.
Those are two different stories.
Entertain this guy. So, I don't have to research anything. I don't have to do anything. I just have to write. And it's all good, and it just flows.
I need intrigue.
But he needs intrigue. My greatest intrigue was what her, like, major in college was going to be so that I can make it into this one-line thing where she said that she would have rather been studying for one of her exams rather than being at this party. That's the most research I had to do. And I decided that macroeconomics was the thing that she would have rather done than been at that party.
Oh, okay. Macroeconomics, that's the thing to do.
Yeah, because macroeconomics, for any of you who are super curious, that's the reason that I didn't finish my business degree, was because I had to do micro and macroeconomics in order to get into a marketing class, which is ridiculous. I sell books online. I know about micro and macroeconomics and marketing, so fuck off.
Sure you do. I don't see any millions in my bank account yet.
You don't look at the bank account.
True enough.
As I told you, I already had $1 million, but then I spent it all.
Which is upsetting news, if true. Please, everybody, send me money.
Don't send him money. He's fine.
No, I can't trust her. She's spending all my money.
He's fine. All of our bank accounts linked anyway, so he doesn't know.
Shit, you're right.
What he doesn't know won't hurt him.
Oh, fuck.
So, clearly he and I have differences of opinion in what contemporary novels are.
Yeah, I think they should be interesting.
Really?
Michelle thinks
otherwise. Really?
Wow, what's that look about? What'd I do?
I can't wait until we start selling your book and it sells like 0 copies and my book sells like 5 billion.
That is so mean.
It is mean. Because you said that my book is boring. You haven't even read it yet.
So?
He's not that interested. He doesn't want to read it that bad.
It's a billionaire. Billionaires are only meant to be villains. Only villains. Billionaires should never be anything but a villain. I'm sorry. That's just a rule. It is a rule.
It's your rule, and your rule does not fit into my microeconomic studies, so fuck off.
Yeah, well, you don't know what happens in macroeconomics, so in macroeconomics you'll learn that they're always the villain, so.
Whatever. I liked how that was good. That was like really subtle. It took me a second. Wow, that was a booming laugh.
Yeah.
Speaking of villains of the piece, one of the things that we were going to talk about was the aspect of writing that involves reviews and getting reviews and trying to make it so that people can kind of better understand what our book is about based on actual reader feedback and not just our blurbs and whatnot. I rely fairly heavily on blurbs on reviews in order to figure out if I'm going to buy something. I think I've talked about it before as something that I am trying to not rely on so heavy, but I would be lying to say that that's not true. I also look at book reviews and whatnot as kind of a way of validating feelings that I have about something that I already read, to see if other people felt in a similar manner as me. So, I really enjoy reading the reviews, and we work really hard to try to get as many honest reviews as possible.
Yep.
But
we bust our buns.
Yes. Well, I do.
Kids say these days. I bust my buns reminding you to bust your buns.
Yeah, that's pretty much our relationship. But there comes a problem when you're looking at reviews and you realize the importance it has for, I guess, like social proof of how popular something is and how many people are reading it. A lot of people won't read a book or something if it doesn't have any reviews, because obviously it's just a bit higher risk, right? If you don't have any reviews, you don't know if it's good, if it's bad, if it's worth your time or not, and everybody only has so many hours in the day. Yeah. So that
all of our time's limited.
Yeah, and that goes for everybody, and totally understand, like, that's unless, like, the blurb really grabs me, then I probably won't buy something without reviews as well. But, of course, it's really hard to get those reviews, and there's only so many people who are going to give them. And
unsolicited, you're more likely to get negative reviews than positive.
Yeah.
People who are upset, and a lot of times, it's people not even upset necessarily at your story or what you did. It's just, they're just upset that day, and they happen to read your story, and something in it was just not to their liking, and so they were in a bad mood, so they leave you a negative review.
Yeah.
Or they don't like some other arbitrary thing about what you did, so they leave a negative review. And you get a scathing review just for some reason that baffles you.
For Magic Academy, which is one of our longest novels, we got a couple of negative reviews saying that there was a love triangle and that there was cheating and that she was a bad person for cheating. But we never hid the fact that there was a love triangle, and we never hid the fact that there was probably cheating.
That was all in the blurb.
That was in the blurb. That was like the first line, probably, was that, she had this choice between these two guys she was really attracted to.
Yeah.
And, the entire novel kind of fleshed that out and whatever.
Yeah.
But we had like 2 or 3 reviews, I think. Yeah. That were like, oh, this is terrible, like, she's such a cheating, like, tramp. And it's just like, what, really? Because, like, I said that, like, in the blurb right there.
Maybe their significant other cheated on them that day.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe they just don't like it and they didn't read the blurb and they somehow managed to read, like, 500 pages of this novel, despite the fact that they obviously could see that it was a love triangle, and then they didn't like it, and they felt like they wasted their time. And that's,
Yeah.
That's fine. That's what reviews are for. But the problem comes when people realize how important these reviews are and how difficult they are to get. For instance, like Harry Potter and 50 Shades of Grey, both, I think on Amazon, they have maybe like 10,000 reviews.
Yeah. Those are like the pinnacle.
Yeah.
That's as high as you're ever getting.
When you realize that there are millions and millions of people who have read both of those books, and only 10,000, like that's like, what, less than 1% of
and
people
more than
who
just
read it?
the number of people who've read it. You're talking about these are two books that have an intense amount of discussion going on around them.
And fans, like these are people who have very serious fans.
Yeah. So, like, you know, you're talking two books that had an intense following around them, not just a following of people who hate it, people who are just discussing it in their daily lives because it's the hot topic. 50 Shades of Grey is the big thing, and everybody's talking about, Harry Potter for years and years and years, both because of the books and the movies, and even to this day, long after both are finished, it's still a major topic. Like, you know, most it could do was 10,000 reviews.
So when you're looking at a much smaller release, and with a lot fewer fan base. Yeah. I mean, when you're taking like tens of millions of people and you realize that maybe like a lot of indie authors maybe have like a couple thousand fans.
Yeah.
So I mean, when you're looking at that, you might get like 2 or 3 unsolicited reviews, even if 2,000 people bought your book and they all loved it and whatever.
Yeah.
So obviously getting reviews is hard and getting reviews is important. So that, of course, leads to, there are some places where you can purchase reviews, including like Fiverr and like other freelance type places where it's just some person giving you like a review for like $5. But you can also get really legitimate reviews from like big names like Kirkus. If you're an indie author, I think the last I checked, if you pay like $400, they'll consider your book for review. And I mean, that's a completely legitimate thing, and they are vetted, and they are not guaranteed to give you a positive review and all that stuff. They are like one of the places that people respect and look to and all that stuff.
You really have to wonder about the ethical consequences still, though, of a system where... You know, you have to pay the reviewer, regardless if it's an honest or not.
You're just going to be more likely to give somebody a positive review if they give you money, because otherwise you're not going to get their money in the future.
Right.
I mean, if somebody has 10 books coming out and they ask you to review one, and they'll give you X amount of dollars if you review it, well then you want to give them a good review so then next time you can make even more money.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not just with books either. This is a thing with movies and games and like even just like general junk that you find on Amazon.
Yeah. And in the games industry, there was a big controversy about it not long ago, where one indie game review site was caught doing that thing, and it was a big deal that made of it there of how that's just not right, and that like I think the site still does it. This indie review site, I don't know the name of it. I'm not going to promote them anyways. It's not relevant, but that was charging indie game devs to be kind of put to the head of the queue, sort of, for a review.
Yeah.
And how that was just unethical, and because even if what they're saying is totally right, you're paying $400 just for a chance to maybe get a review done of your book,
which may or may not be positive.
That at best seems very unethical in regards to how it treats the indie author.
Mm.
You're bilking a small-time author who's probably putting themselves out money on hopes and dreams that people will read their book.
Yeah.
But, giving you hundreds of dollars just for what they think is a shot.
Mm. And I mean, like, with us, like, we've written and published so much that some of that magic is kind of gone. We don't treat any one of our projects like the pet project, the one that we want to be a big breakout hit and everyone to read and love. Like, we write and we publish and we keep going because... it's the process that we enjoy. And
it's too heartbreaking if you get too invested in a book and you realize that book, just for whatever reason, didn't catch a lot of
attention
feedback.
Or
like Michelle said, like maybe it was just the blurb wasn't that interesting, and because it kills me. I remember there was this one kind of like image going around or something along authors said and Satan said, "Let them write a blurb." Write a blurb, and it's just like. because I fucking hate writing blurbs. I just wrote like 100,000 word story that was full of depth and complexity, and like, you know, I sunk my heart, my soul into this fucking thing for like, you know, months.
Now condense it to 200 words or less.
Yeah, like, fuck you. I can't do that. Like, screw you. Whatever the blurb's going to be, it's not going to be representative of the book. Like, it just ticks me off, the whole idea of it. But, you know, like, we have to confess that when we're looking to buy books, what do? We look at the blurb, we look at the reviews. And so we're just as stuck into that trap as anybody else. So, you know, you're doing this, and completely lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry, we're doing this. We're doing the process of writing and putting our heart and soul into it, and then trying to write a blurb. Yeah. And then that blurb sucks. The story might be awesome, but the blurb sucks. Or maybe
the story just can't be conveyed through.
Yeah, or maybe the blurb is awesome, but it's not what readers are looking for right now. It's not what
the readers of this particular genre want.
Yeah. So, like, you know, we have some books that we thought were really, really good, strong books that just never did anything. And then other books that we thought were kind of mediocre, and like they were the ones
all our books are awesome. We just, some of them we didn't think would be as popular as they ended up being. Is what you mean to say?
I'm trying to keep it on a scale. Oh my god, he is so annoying. Anyways, so there's clearly some books that are better than others. Mm-hmm. But then the others are the ones that sell really well and get a lot of reviews and fans and all that stuff. Yeah. So we try not to put too much into one book, but I still remember what that's like, and I still remember, I still have lots of friends who are authors and who, like, are so passionate and so hopeful that they will have this, like, one shot, and that
this book is their thing.
This book is their thing, and they've worked on it for years, and they've edited it, and they've made it perfect, and they love the story, and they love the characters, and they love everything about it, and they really want readers to love it too, but then nothing happens because, you know, it just doesn't grab people. So,
for us, there was one case where, like, Magic Academy we were poised for that to be our big breakout hit. We spent, you know, a lot of our time trying to market it, trying to make sure everything with it was perfect, because we thought, this is the book that combines everything that's us with a bit of, like, you know, in a flavor that kind of, we thought this has some mass market appeal. Because we put everything we had to that, and we did everything that I could tell right. What happened? It sold well. It sold very well, actually, for one of our books. One of our bestsellers. But it wasn't a big breakout hit. And the reason for that had nothing to do with what we did or did not do. It turned out that, at that time, Amazon.com was having a glitch on their fucking store page that was causing it so new books weren't showing up on, like, sales lists, so that people just weren't seeing it.
Yep. Yep.
And since, like, you know, 70% or more of our sales come from that site, you know,
and, like, within the first month or within the first week.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have a breakout hit within the first 2 weeks,
you drop off all the charts anyways, and people stop noticing you, and it's over.
Like, they have, like, the hot new releases, which is the first 30 days, and then they have 60 days, but nobody really checks that. Yeah. So, what it was like, you know how when you're on Amazon and you see, like, users who bought this book also bought, and then it has a list of similar books that, you know, oh, well, I bought the Harry Potter, the first book, so it recommends that I also buy the second book, because a lot of people who bought the first one bought the second one.
Yeah.
That is how a lot of authors are discovered, because some people buy a book and then they're like, oh, well, a lot of people who bought this book also like this one. I'll check that out as well.
It's a major source of sales.
It's big. Getting on one of the also bought lists of, like, a major seller, like, especially on the first page or so, is amazing. Like, it really makes a huge difference. So that was broken. And you could really tell, because our sales in the UK, where it wasn't broken, were a lot higher than on .com.
Yeah.
Which is completely...
Even here in Canada, where it was, well, once again, working in Canada, we were making... Usually, Canadian sales are very low for us.
Because most Canadians use the US site.
Yeah. But all of a sudden, we're making from all these markets. It was like in Germany and UK, Canada. We're making a lot of sales.
Yeah,
and it was like if it had been proportionate, if these sales had been proportionate,
we would have sold thousands.
We would have been crazy successful.
Yeah, but there was a bug, and there you go. That was it.
Our big shot that we invested so much in was shot for nothing that we had done or failed to do.
Yeah,
just completely out of our hands. And that's just one example.
So clearly, we try not to put our eggs into one womb.
That's how the saying goes,
one
right?
basket, you pretentious git. Well, I mean, you even see it with I bought this microphone that we are using. Hello, microphone.
Hello. Is it a Yeti or something?
It is a Yeti, a blue Yeti.
It's not actually blue, though. It's silver.
No, it's silver. And I bought our little pop filters and stuff, and I bought these on Amazon, and I looked at the reviews, and I judged based on the reviews and the price whether I wanted to buy it or not. So, all sites that have a review system, I pretty much expect to be skewed in the favor of products, because I don't know whether it's ethical or not. I just cannot believe that Avon would allow for too many 1-star reviews on a product. And when I'm looking at these things, I'm looking at it with this scrutiny and this expectation that other people are skewing the results positive. Now,
suspicious sort, aren't you?
Yeah, and that's not fair, and it's not right. But at the same time, I understand how important it is for everyone who sells a product or a service to have really good reviews.
Yeah.
And so it's incredibly difficult to look at that and to not take that into account. So we're looking at a system that is incredibly unethical, and I kind of hate the star rating because it leaves so much ambiguity. Because what's my 4-star is probably someone else's 5-star, is probably someone else's 2-star.
Yeah, we've had scathing reviews that were 3 stars because they confessed in the end it was very well written. It was everything about it was put together very well. Applaud Michelle for all her work. And, a 3-star review. Then we've had people who have given glowing reviews and said this is the best thing they've read all year. It's amazing. 3-star reviews as well.
Yeah.
Because apparently their idea of what constitutes a 4 or 5-star review is like a masterwork of literature that is only going to happen twice in human history.
Yeah.
So why would they give it out to,
Yeah. So, I would probably just prefer, the stupid YouTube system of I like it or I don't like it.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's still some ambiguity. Even if you add in an "it's okay" thing, I think most things would then become okay, because then you think oh well, I liked it, but it had some problems, and then suddenly it's an okay. Whereas you still liked it. Everything's gonna have some problems. I buy a lot of stuff that's almost perfect except for one stupid little thing. I really like this jacket, but I wish it had one more pocket. What do I say? Is it okay, or do I like it?
Yeah. I've been advocating for a while. I think the idea of, the thumbs up, thumbs down thing works. The number scale, percentage, stuff like that, it's so arbitrary. You're trying to put numbers on something that is so subjective and personal, and it just comes off as ridiculous. Like I said, we've got scathing reviews that have the same star rating as glowing reviews. Just because, that person's own subjective view of what that star rating meant was completely different from everybody else's. And even sites that try, Goodreads, they try to have a standardized view. This is what they have, 1 star means I didn't like it, 2 stars means
I hate it,
yeah, so on.
But
everybody interprets that differently.
Yeah.
I would much rather just, thumbs up, thumbs down. It's worked for some great movie reviewers.
Yeah.
Some very famous movie reviewers.
2 thumbs up, 2 thumbs down.
Yeah. So, I think it,
I don't know. Part of it is just, for me, it's just kind of silly anyways. Just the entire system that we have set up of, formalized peer pressure.
Yeah, and you had brought up, figure some companies are cheating with it. And, like, there have been cases where, companies and small-town authors, like, have been caught doing exactly that, buying fake reviews. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that's because, like you said, there's a pressure.
Yeah.
And, you pointed out earlier, you're far more likely to get the negative reviews.
Yeah. Especially if your book is free. Oh my god, if you put your book free...
everybody's going to buy it. It doesn't matter if they have no interest in the topic.
Yeah. They're just going to download it, and they're going to read it, and they're going to hate it because they didn't want any erotica, and yet they were browsing the erotica section and bought a book called, like, Banging My Stepbrother, and then say, like, oh no, I hate incest, this is disgusting. Like, why do you buy the book for then, please?
We see that constantly, like, from our author friends and stuff like that. Like, people, then they put books up for free, that's what happens. You get all these people who clearly are either covering for something or didn't read even the title of the book before they decided to download it because it was free. Mm. And you get it sometimes too, even when it's not free, comically,
Oh, yeah. Like, so there is a pressure to, do that unethical thing. And it's something that we try to avoid because... I mean, if you can't...
Try to avoid, yes.
Yeah, try to avoid. I mean, just in general.
I try to swerve out of the way of unethical views. Yeah.
But I mean, even when we're talking to, like, friends and family, like, I don't really like asking them for reviews.
No.
I mean, it's not... It's one of those gray areas where, like, I probably could get some good reviews out of, like, some friends. We certainly know
enough authors who gang press every person they know and good reviews.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, they might be wholly honest reviews and everything, but I just feel wrong doing it.
I'm a really terrible capitalist.
Yeah, terrible.
I should be pushing my books on everybody I know, but I can't do it.
I actually came out to my coworkers on the day I left. The day I left my day job, I gave them all a book at, like, 5 minutes before I left for the day forever. So I went around, I wrapped the books. I didn't want to see their faces when they looked at it. And then I left. And that was it. And, like, there were a few of them that I said, please don't leave a review. Like, I don't care if it's positive or negative, just please don't leave a review, and probably don't even tell me what you think of it. I don't want to know. And, I mean, it's not very, business-like of me.
No, that was pretty shitty of you.
It was. But it's just, I feel really uncomfortable with that. I don't like doing the unethical thing. I don't even know if that's unethical. That seems like it's silly to think that that's unethical, but I don't feel comfortable.
She doesn't even feel comfortable, like, withholding, like, I don't like this from somebody who gives her something, It's like, she thinks that that's lying.
It is lying! My character in Guild Wars 2 also keeps getting in trouble for that because she keeps just, like, saying what she thinks. And she's not very good at not, lying about these things.
That's a lot like you. Yeah.
By which I mean not telling everybody exactly what she thinks at all points in time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how life has changed, not much. I just don't leave the apartment anymore. And I don't like...
I have to drag you outside.
Yeah. He also has to drag me out of the bedroom sometimes. I lie in the bed. He has to literally drag me on the floor into the living room, so I have to get to work.
Because she hasn't yet learned that I'm going to drag you out of the bed if you don't
get actually right now. Will. Like, I have actually fallen to the floor because he drags me from my arms.
Yeah.
It's abuse.
Or
it's
your
horrible.
feet. Or my feet. Most convenient.
Sometimes my leg and my foot. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, we've been able to relax a lot more.
Yeah.
Saw some movies during the day when there was no one there. We watched Gone Girl, which was a fantastic movie.
I highly recommend it.
Haven't read the book, but really liked the movie.
Yeah, the movies are good.
Also, I really liked the cool girl speech because I totally, empathize with the expectation to be the cool girl that doesn't get upset and that is chill about everything and doesn't nag or be annoying.
You also empathize with serial killing.
I also do. So, there's that. The entire movie, after, I'm not going to ruin anything.
Don't spoil anything for these fine people.
I'm sorry, you fine people. If you haven't seen it yet, this is probably your fault. But whatever, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. It's just a really good movie. We also watched Annabelle, which was a precursor to The Conjuring. The horror movie. It was pretty good. Yeah, alright, it was a horror movie. It's in October. You might as well see it.
Yeah.
If you have some extra ching.
We should probably see if there are any other horror movies. This is October, Dan. We have a tradition of watching horror movies.
We haven't actually watched any horror movies, but I did make him watch Rocky Horror Picture Show, which I pretty much haven't seen since I moved here.
Oh, you and your inside jokes that nobody's going to get but me. You adorable pod person, you.
Fuck you.
Oh, you.
So pretty much every year since I've moved here, I have used that joke on him. Saying that I haven't watched Rocky Horror Picture Show since I moved here because he is such a tyrant who won't ever let me watch it because I really want to watch it all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So every year.
I like Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I know, but you don't like it all the time. I do.
Oh, Jesus.
I have a thing for Tim Curry.
Who doesn't?
I don't know. He's really sexy anyways. In Home Alone 2, he was in it. He was like the desk clerk behind the counter for the hotel. And he got slapped at one point by the main character's mother. And like, I can't watch that scene. It crushes me.
Oh my.
It's like the saddest thing I've ever seen in my life. It is like heart-wrenching.
Pause. I've got to rock a piss. You got to pause this motherfucker right now.
I'm really sorry, you guys. Wow, I am like really sorry about that. He was in there for like 5 hours peeing. I don't even know what happened.
Yeah, like a fire hose.
Like in, I don't know if any of you have ever seen, I'm really sorry, this is really obscure. But in, what's it called? Not Snuff Box, the other one. Mighty Boosh. In Mighty Boosh.
A lot of people have seen it. I think that was on American television.
I guess. I don't know. But in the final episode, there's a guy who just, like, ends up pissing, like, a fucking, like, torrent of pee. That's Josh. So if you're ever watching it again, just picture
Thanks for sharing that with everybody listening. Well, I guess at this point, statistically speaking, at the 47-minute mark into a podcast, there's probably, like...
5 of you. I love you guys.
Of you. So
you guys are so wonderful. You're so cool. I'm not wearing a shirt right now.
Yeah. It's true, you know, she's not.
I know, I'm just cupping my breast sexually.
Well, yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah, fair enough.
See? So, way to stick around, you sexy people.
Yeah.
Anyways.
She's definitely sitting like she's trying to titillate you.
I am
She still doesn't seem to understand
Shut up!
This is not a visual medium.
You don't know that. Anyways, fuck off. So...
We have a few closing bits of business for the podcast.
For the keepers of the library.
Yeah. Let us know if you like that. Again.
Yeah. I'll sing it. I'll sing it.
Sing it.
So, on Darkness, we of course have our monthly story challenge. We had a hiatus last month, so this month we are chatting about the Fae. There is a word limit, so you don't have to be entirely terrified of doing it. It's only 8,000 words, and I wrote a 9,000 word sex scene today, so you're gonna have to get over that if you think that you can't write 8,000 words about being a fairy and having sex. Yeah. So, the bonus are falling into a dream, post-apocalyptic, or there's a song called Dice, that Tay has linked in the thread. You can probably give it a listen and then see if that inspires any of your big sexy thoughts.
I didn't really like it.
He didn't care for it. I cared less for it, and I had to look at his stupid face as he sang. So, Tay, bad job. Yeah. But the rest of it, great job. Good work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
So that is...
Thank you for volunteering to put in all this hard work, and so we can ridicule your...
Yes.
subjective taste in music.
Exactly. You have really bad taste in music, I think. Anyways, so that is due by October 31st. I'm sorry, Tay, I love you. That is due October 31st, and then there will be a new story challenge. And that will be NaNoWriMo month.
I guess that is how you would say it, NaNoWriMo.
I always say NaNoWriMo because I think of Nanaimo bars.
Nanaimo? Isn't it Nanaimo?
I don't know. I'm a pod person. Fuck you.
Holy shit! Pod person. We're podcasting.
Oh wow.
How did that not occur to me before?
Wow.
I could have been making really stupid, lame jokes about that all along.
For like 8 other podcasts. No, don't.
For fuck's sakes, most of the people listening probably don't even get the pod person reference. They probably think that it was just a reference to the fact that we're podcasting. They've never seen the Pod People. The movie. We're old people.
We are old people.
Oh my god, I just understood.
Guys,
we've been making such a fucking old person joke that nobody's getting but us.
Guys, I had erotic roleplay with somebody born in 1996 and it was okay. He's totally legal. How is somebody in 1996 okay? 96.
That's weird.
That was when the Spice Girls were popular. And like, Britney Spears was up and coming.
Oh my god.
It's weird.
You're disgusting. You're disgusting.
I still get carded at like the liquor store, but I feel like I'm like 90 years old.
They never believe how old she is. But she looks like such a cute little girl even now.
People like make me like take my license out of my stupid wallet, and you know how stupid that stupid wallet is. Like I think everybody is the exact same. Like they have to like root in with their little fingers and like take out their license, and it always gets stuck on the leather.
They think it's fake. It's so cute.
Right? I look really cute in my ID too, but my hair is all curly, and I mean my hair is usually curly, but not nice curly. So I think that's all for announcements.
Yeah, if you're interested in supporting us, there's our Patreon.
Yeah, we are getting super into that now. We're going to be giving out free stories and stuff for all of our supporters pretty soon.
Yep. Now, full time, we're going to have the time to sink into, seeing that there's better rewards for it.
Yeah.
And the podcast, I figure too, if we get enough backing, we'll do this weekly.
Yeah. Because then we'll have time. And time is awesome.
Time is money, friend.
Oh, wow. Okay, so...
Yeah, if they get that, they'll love it, right?
Do you get it? Do you guys get it? Is WoW still popular? Is that a thing?
Yeah. It's right. Are the kids still into that?
Right? So, anyway...
Or is it just bored these days?
I don't know. Oh, God. So, yeah, follow us on Twitter and Facebook and all of the other things that people follow people on, and be creepy stalkers and send us messages and love and affection, because we have very tiny egos that you need to pump up.
Yes, pump them up through the nozzle that is my penis. And if you have questions for us, leave them any of the social media, or if you want to do it so anonymously, we have an ask.fm account where you can leave anonymous questions.
Yeah, and if you're ever looking for us, just look up JM Keep. And if you don't know how to spell keep, I'm not going to spell it for you, because I'm not sure if I want you to follow us.
Keep.
Whatever. Alright, I love you guys.
Don't be such an elitist pod person.
Fuck you.
Okay.